Good day, Davao de Oro, and to all Z-eskwela listeners, especially to the grade 12 CSS students who are listening to us right now, on their radios at home, and joining with us with our Facebook Live. I am your teacher presenter, ARGIE BELANDRES, from Camanlangan National High School. Good day, CSS Senior High School students. We are on air at 88.5 Z Radio. How are you doing today? Wow, you are all doing great. That's good to know. Join me as we will be together for 1 hour. So ready yourself for today's radio-based instruction. Alright, please find a suitable area and make yourself comfortable. Before we begin with our new topic, let us first have a quick review of the previous lesson. In our previous lesson, you have learned and understand the basic tools, equipment, testing devices, and OHSP. For computer tools, you have a Phillips screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and long nose plier. For computer equipment, we have sets of PC, printer, and a modem. What about testing devices? Very good! That's right! For testing devices, we have multimeter or multi-tester, screwdriver tester, and LAN tester. You have also learned the OHS policies and procedures. Am I right? Very good! That concludes the following. We have A. Read and follow manufacturer manual. B. Turn off or unplug the computer before servicing the system unit. C. Remove any metal objects in your arms or in your fingers to avoid electric shock. D. Use magnetic screwdriver for electronic safety. E. Hold the electronic devices properly. F. Use anti-static map. G. Take away any liquid like juices, water, or soft drinks in your working area or in your workplace. H. Use personal protective equipment in accordance to the job requirement. I. Use anti-static device. J. Make sure that the pins and other wires are properly aligned or connected. Well now, I guess you are ready for today's discussion and demonstration. We'll discuss with you LO3 of Install and Configure Computer System Competency, which is install operating system and drivers for peripherals. For this discussion and demonstration, you will need a set of PC or laptop computer. Of course, the most important device a bootable Windows operating system flash drive or pen drive. We hope that at the end of this session, you will be able to, number one, understand and configure BIOS setup, and two, install Windows operating system and drivers. Are you ready for today's discussion and demonstration? Great! Keep this in mind that all files in your local disk C, including your desktop, documents, and download folder will be erased. So make a clear decision as to what computer you will be using. Again, to install operating system like Windows 7, 8, or 10 using pen drive or flash drive, you will need a bootable Windows operating system or a bootable Windows flash drive, which I hope you have it in your hands right now. And of course, a set of PC or computer to be working with. In doing so, please observe the minimum safety requirements or the system requirements in installing the operating system in your computer. For Windows 7, we have the minimum requirements for processor, at least 1 GHz of CPU and 1 GB of RAM. Again, for Windows 7 installation, you will need a minimum requirement for processor is at least 1 GHz and 1 GB of RAM. For Windows 10, you must have at least 1 or 2 GHz of CPU and 2 GHz of RAM. But it is recommended to use 2 GHz CPU speed of your processor to install Windows 10. So, let's get started. I will give you 1 minute to prepare your computer. Now, I guess you're ready, so sit back and follow my command. Now, insert your flash drive in the USB port, turn on the monitor and the system unit by pressing its power button. The system unit, it is located at the front panel area. For the monitor, the power button is in the right bottom corner of your screen. Now, press that button. After turning on the PC, press Del or Delete key on keyboard for multiple times until BIOS setup appears. Again, press Del or Delete key on your keyboard to enter BIOS setup. Pause for a while as you will see BIOS menu. Now, let us first examine and understand some important BIOS setup utility. In your BIOS setup, you will find a multiple tab like the main, the Advanced tab, the Power, Authentication, Security, Boot, Option, and Exit tab. In the Main tab, you will find the version of your BIOS, the date, the time, the memory, and the CPU speed. Also, you will find product name and the serial number. Advanced tab, you will find a sub-tab like Miscellaneous, in which gives you the details of your hard disk and optical drive. Advanced chipset allows user to change video memory size. Integrated peripherals allows user to control onboard devices which can be enabled or disabled. PC health status. This gives you an overview of your system temperature. Power tab allows user to change power mode, but please bear in mind that it will cause damage to your hardware device if you misconfigure this setting. So, let's keep it in its default setting. Authentication tab, a security feature to prevent unintended installation or reinstallation of incompatible version of operating system. Security tab. This gives ownership of BIOS and have supervisor control or user control. Boot options allows individual to prioritize boot order. This part is the most important tab when it comes to operating system installation. In this tab, we have the first boot, the second, third, and the fourth boot device. First boot device means during post or power on self-test, the first boot device will be read first. Hard disk priority tab allows user to choose between two or more bootable device. Boot menu allows user to override boot order. Exit tab. Save and exit. Exit system setup after saving changes. Discard changes and exit setup. Exit system setup without saving any changes. Alright, stay tuned and we will be right back.
The Radyo Z-eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Maze Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
I'm back, learners! Let's continue. Now, let us customize your BIOS to install operating system. First, insert your flash drive to the USB port. Second, turn on the monitor and your system unit. After turning on the PC, immediately press Del or Delete key on your keyboard multiple times until BIOS Setup utility appear. Again, press Del or Delete key to enter BIOS setup. So I guess you are now in your BIOS setup. Follow me. Go to Authentication tab. Now, press arrow down on your keyboard. Select Secure tab. Hit Enter on your keyboard. Arrow up and press Enter. Now, go to Boot Option tab by pressing the forward arrow on your keyboard. After that, press arrow down and select CSN. Hit Enter on your keyboard and select Always. I hope you're following. Now, go to Boot Menu tab, hit Enter, and select Enable. This allows user to bypass BIOS setup and prompt directly to BIOS or boot drive option. So before you proceed to the last step in configuring your BIOS, let me remind you to press F12. Again, press F12 after PC restarts so you can select the bootable flash drive to begin our installation. Okay, let's proceed. Now, go to Exit tab. Press the forward arrow on your keyboard. Hit arrow down and select Save and Exit Setup. Computer now restart. Again, press F12 multiple times on your keyboard. Have you seen your flash drive? Now, select your bootable flash drive. In my example, I have SanDisk. So if you're using a Kingston flash drive, select that flash drive by hitting the arrow down on your keyboard. Press Enter and press any key to begin installation. Let's wait. Now, computer appears and will give you a dialog box. Click Next. Click Install Now and wait for computer to respond. Now, enter the license key or the serial key of your product. Or you can click Skip for later configuration. In the dialog box, click and select Windows 10 and click Next. Choose Windows 10 Professional and click Next. Read the license term. If you understand the license term, then click the box I accept the license term. Click Next and click Custom Install or Install Windows Only. I hope you start following. Now, we will perform a clean installation and reprogram your PC and divide the hard drive capacity into two partitions. For local disk C, capacity will be 200 gigabytes. Local disk D will be the remaining partition. So, if you have 1 terabyte, the remaining capacity for local disk D will be 800 gigabytes. To do this, first, we will have to remove all partitions, followed by creating new partition, formatting the hard drive, and installing the operating system in your C drive. Now, listen carefully to the instruction. To remove the partition, follow me. Highlight the partition by clicking on it. Example, partition 1. Click the partition 1 and click delete. Again, click partition 1 and click delete. Message appears and it says, this partition might contain important files or application from your computer manufacturer. If you delete this partition, any data stored in it will be lost. So since this is a clean installation, just click OK to delete the partition. And it says, partition becomes unallocated space, meaning the partition is now deleted. Next, we must delete all partitions before creating a new one. Now, follow me. Highlight again the partition by clicking on it and click delete. Example, partition 1 or partition 2. Message box appears again. Just click OK. Do the same procedure to remove all partitions. Stop only until you see disk drive 0 partition or with unallocated space. So I will give you 30 seconds to perform the task and delete all partitions. Time starts now. Okay, I guess you are done deleting all partitions. Now, let's create a new partition. To do this, click New. Click the size box number and erase all numbers using backspace on your keyboard. Since our objective is 200 GB, type 200,000 in figures on your keyboard for 200 gigabytes. After typing the amount to your local disk C, click Apply. Message box appears. Just click OK to continue. Note, the first partition that you created is intended for local disk C. So after hitting Apply and OK, it creates new partition and it creates two partitions, a system reserve and a partition 2 for your local disk C drive. Now, we still have an allocated space. So, again, follow me. Highlight your drive by clicking it on your mouse. Click New and click Apply. This setting allows us to use the rest of the remaining capacity in our drive D. So if you wish to create multiple partitions, you can divide the capacity. So as of now, let us give it to local disk D. Format your D drive or your partition tree by highlighting and clicking the partition. Click Format, click OK, and wait to load. Now, to install the operating system, highlight the partition 2 by clicking on it on your mouse and click Next. OS now begin its installation. Wait for it, for Windows will copy and install its file, its features and updates, and so on. This takes a couple of minutes. depending on your computer. So please wait until computer restarts. Do not press anything so installation will continue. Setting up is getting ready. Now type the license product key. Now click the username box and type the PC name. Example, ARGIE 2020. Click Next. Windows will load and set up your computer. Setup complete. Done. Congratulations! You are now done installing Windows operating system. Very good. Now follow me. How to install device driver. In my example, I am using an optical media for my driver. So open your PC icon or this PC icon. Right-click on your optical drive. Click Install or Run Program for your media. Click Yes. Click Drivers. Click Install. As easy as that. Installation now begins. Install driver finished. Please reboot the system and restart your PC. To check if you are properly installed the device driver, open your device manager. To do this, right-click this PC icon, click Manage, and click Device Manager. Check the following: display adapter for video, network adapter for Ethernet, sound and game controller for audio. Note, there should be no yellow mark on your device manager. The yellow mark means the driver was not properly installed. For manual installation, just open the file. Example, you downloaded the driver over the internet. Open the file. In my example, I have Realtek for LAN driver or my Ethernet driver. Open the folder and choose what operating system you are using. Example, I have Windows 10, so open that, right-click and click Install. And it's done. As simple as that. Congratulations! Thank you, and we're done. Okay, let us have a short quiz. Now, prepare a 1/4 sheet of paper or any clean sheet of paper and let us check your understanding. Question number 1. What is the minimum CPU requirement in installing Windows 7 operating system? Again, number 1. What is the minimum CPU requirement in installing Windows 7 operating system? A. 500 megahertz. B. 700 megahertz. Or C. 1 gigahertz. And D. 3.7 gigahertz. Again, A. 500 megahertz. B. 700 megahertz. C. 1 gigahertz. And D. 3.7 gigahertz. Stay tuned and we will be right back.
The Radyo Z-eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
I'm back, learners! Let's continue. Question number 2. BIOS. BIOS means letter A, Basic Input Output Storage. B, Basic Input Output Setup. C, Basic Input Output System. Or D, Basic Input-Output Security. Again, question number 2. BIOS means A, Basic Input-Output Storage. B, Basic Input-Output Setup. C, Basic Input-Output System. Or D, Basic Input-Output Security. Number 3, what is the minimum CPU requirement in installing Windows 10? Again, what is the minimum CPU requirement in installing Windows 10 OS? Letter A, 500 MHz. B, 700 MHz. C, 1 GHz. Or D, 3.7 GHz. Again, A, 500 MHz. B, 700 MHz. C, 1 GHz. Or D, 3.7 GHz. Number 4. It is a command or keys in your keyboard that allows user to open BIOS setup. Again, it is a command or key in a keyboard that allows user to open BIOS setup. Letter A, F12. B, F11. C, Control-Alt-Delete. Or D, F2 or Delete key. Again, letter A, F12. B, F11. C, Control-Alt-Delete. Or D, F2 or Delete key. 5. What is the minimum RAM requirement in installing Windows 7? Again, what is the minimum requirement in installing Windows 7? 1. 128 MB. B. 256 MB. C. 1 GB. Or D, 4 GB. Again, what is the minimum requirement, the RAM requirement in installing Windows 7? A, 128 MB. B, 256 MB. C, 1 GB. Or D, 4 GB. Let us check your work. Number 1, letter C. Number 2, letter C. 3. Letter C. 4. Letter D. 5. Letter C. Who among you got perfect? Very good! How about those students who got low passing score? Good! Nothing to worry about. We have still plenty of quizzes in the next preceding topics. Once again, congratulations! You can put your comments, suggestions, and questions on our Facebook page. See you in the next session. I am teacher ARGIE Belandres from Camanlangan National High School for Class on the Air in Grade 12 CSS and C2. Bye-bye!
Radyo's Eskwela Executive Committee. The School's Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin Seso 5. Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan. OIC Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Karina S. Frasco. School Governance and Operations Division Chief, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Members: Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opeña, Dr. Arlene B. Lim, Dr. Elvicris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Siquinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Noemi P. Canales, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Virgilito C. Pabrices, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangi, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Dalan S. Milabat, Medar T. Ampit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Productions and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judyland D. Yu, Donna D. D. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riven Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banias. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian and Hara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istanyol, Richard H. Arellano, Lee L. S. Blanco, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo Gutierrez Jr., and Jade Karen Arais.